The morning began with a strange stillness at the old dock, where gulls usually screeched and fishermen shouted across the harbor. Today, however, only the soft clang of a loosened anchor broke the silence. Young sailor Evan Marlowe, a cheerful seaman with a knack for adventure, stood on the pier, staring at the grand carrier ship Ocean Lark. Steam puffed from its polished steamer pipes, and its tall white sides gleamed like those of a luxury liner. "It's the finest vessel in the fleet," Evan whispered proudly. Beside it, smaller boats, ferries, rafts, and a few old canoes bobbled gently in the water. Today would be Evan's first official voyage aboard a major ship, a journey he had dreamed about since he could hold an oar. Once embarking, Evan stepped onto the wide deck and marveled at the machinery humming below. A giant turbine rumbled like a sleeping beast, and the spinning propeller churned the seawater into white ribbons behind the stern. Captain Rowan, tall and commanding, stood near the bow, scanning a map. "Welcome aboard, Evan," he said. "We head toward the Lost Canal today, the place no one has crossed in a century." Evan's heart raced. The Lost Canal? Every sailor knew the tales, but few believed them. The Ocean Lark set off swiftly, its impressive velocity slicing through the waves. The ship moved so swift and smooth that the horizon seemed to pull closer with every breath. Hours passed. Then, the sky darkened. "Storm ahead!" someone shouted. The ship groaned as towering waves slammed into its side. A massive surge nearly submerged the bow. Evan gripped the rail, tasting the salt spray on his lips. But Captain Rowan stood firm. "We push forward!" And forward they went. By evening, the sea calmed into an eerie lull. Too quiet. Then, out of the fog, the Lost Canal appeared. A narrow passage carved between cliffs, looking more like a giant ditch than a pathway. Thick vines hung from the rocks, and abandoned railroad tracks twisted along the cliffside, as if swallowed by the earth. "This used to connect to an old railway station," the captain explained, "before the great locomotive collapse sealed it." Evan spotted rusted rails disappearing into a broken tunnel. The place looked forgotten by time. The crew maneuvered the ship deeper into the canal. Slow, careful. Halfway through, they discovered a stranded subway cart, barely visible beneath overgrown vines. The word "Underground Transit Service" was still printed on its side. What's a subway car doing here? Evan wondered. Beside it lay dozens of envelopes, stamps, and old postage bags scattered across a rotten wooden pier. Letters that never reached their destination. Many were marked "overdue" or "due 80 years ago." Some had red ink reading "expired, delivery failed." The captain frowned. This canal must have been a major mail route. Something forced them to postpone, maybe even defer all deliveries. Evan picked up a worn packet tied in thick bind string. A tiny package slipped out, a small metal parcel engraved with a map. The map revealed 3 paths: Transit Route Alpha, Transition Route Beta, Transfer Route Gamma. "Look," Evan said, pointing. "It shows where the old mail carriers tried to transfer the load. They must have planned to transmit messages across the canal even after the railroads collapsed." A note on the back read, "Deliver the final cargo. The canal must remain open." "Deliver?" Evan repeated. "But what cargo?" Behind them, the ship's hull creaked under a new weight. "Captain!" a crewman shouted. "Something's causing the ship to burden down on the left side." The crew rushed to load and unload equipment to steady the ship. Whatever they had stumbled into, it wasn't just history. It was unfinished business. At the far end of the canal, they discovered a floating wooden crate trapped between rocks. Carved into its surface were the letters, "Final mail, do not open." Captain Rowan lifted it carefully. "We must deliver it," he said. "That's what the map intended." The crate was surprisingly light despite its size, almost too light. "Shall we convey it to the lighthouse beyond the canal?" Evan asked. "Yes," the captain replied. "That's where all late mail was meant to arrive." A new wave of excitement surged through Evan. He felt like part of a story written decades ago, yet unfinished until now. The Ocean Lark exited the canal and entered open water again. The lighthouse, barely a silhouette, blinked in the distance. Suddenly, a dense fog surrounded the ship. Then, a shadow appeared. A ghostly ferry, its decks cracked and its windows shattered, drifted toward them. No crew, no sound, just the echo of a vessel lost long ago. Evan shivered. "Keep steady," the captain commanded. The Ocean Lark increased its velocity, pushing forward as the ghost ship drifted past, scraping its ruined stern against their hull. The crew tightened ropes and adjusted the propeller speed to stay on course. The lighthouse grew closer, only a few hundred meters more. They finally docked at the tiny rocky island beneath the lighthouse. An elderly keeper limped out, carrying a lantern. "I knew one day," he whispered, "someone would finish the job." He pointed at the crate. "That's the lost mail, destined for this station. It never arrived because the canal collapsed before the last carrier ship could reach me." Evan handed it over with both hands. The keeper opened it gently. Inside were hundreds of letters, messages that people sent during a great war, hoping for replies that never came. Tears filled the old man's eyes. "You've done what many tried and failed. The final mail of the canal has finally arrived." The crew boarded the Ocean Lark again, spirits lifted. As they sailed home, Evan watched the lighthouse shrink into the horizon. He felt something shift inside him, a transition, a quiet transformation from ordinary sailor to someone who carried history forward. The captain clapped a hand on his shoulder. "You delivered more than mail today," he said. "You delivered closure." As the Ocean Lark approached the harbor, the morning sun painted gold across the water, and Evan realized something. Sometimes, the most important journeys begin with a single step onto the deck of a ship and end with a story no one will ever forget.